everyone, our learning target is at the top of the screen. Today we're going to work on efficiently adding and subtracting decimal values. Now you might think this is just the same thing as the normal addition and subtraction of multi-digit numbers that you have been doing for a couple of years and getting really good at regrouping and borrowing, but we have to worry about decimal place value here. So we're going to take a couple extra steps to help us organize our work. We're going to start with this first problem. We have 2 and 7,607 10,000ths. And we are going to add to that 974 thousandths. Okay, now the first step that I would really like you to do, because the number one thing I see about fifth graders making mistakes on this is they are not organized. So one of the things that we did in class right away was we put our decimal points in first before we even kind of copied those numbers vertically. So I'm going to do that. Put a decimal point, and a decimal point in our answer. Okay. Now we're going to fill our values in. I'm going to start with the top number first because this is addition. It really doesn't matter. I have a whole number 2, 7 in my 10th spot, 6 in my hundredths, 7 in my 10,000ths. Then I have a 9 in my tenths, 7 in my hundredths, and 4 in my thousandths place. Now, one of the other recommendations I'm going to make to you, and I'm going to actually do this in a different color, is to fill any place value holders in with zeros. And what I mean, empty place value holders, are spots like here and here where there are no values in one of our numbers. Okay, now they kind of look even. And the reason why we do that is because a lot of times our brains can trick us and get us to forget doing that regrouping or maybe trying to subtract or add where we don't have certain values. So this helps us stay organized and helps make sure that our place value holders are lined up. Okay. This is addition. I don't know why I did a subtraction sign right there. Please be more careful than me. Okay, I'm going to start way over here, all the way over at our 10,000ths place. 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 plus 7 is 13. And 8 plus 9 is 17. And then I have 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, real quick, really great way to check your work is to use some estimation. This right here, I could round to the nearest whole number, which would be 3. And this I could round to the nearest whole number, which would be 1. And this right here, 4, is really close to the sum of these two estimated numbers is really close to 3 and 7/10. Or you could leave this as 2 and 7/10 and just add 1 whole, because 97 hundredths is really close to 1 whole, and you'd get to 3 and 7/10. Okay, it's one way to check our work. Okay, now we're going to move on to subtraction. So we're going to do the same thing, follow the same steps that we did for the problem above. We're going to put in our placeholders, decimal points first. 1 for our answer. Okay, I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to make sure I put my subtraction sign here. And then remember, with subtraction, order matters. So that 861 thousandths needs to go on top, and the 700ths needs to go on the bottom. See how I'm being careful to make sure that my decimal points lined up? That makes sure that my tenths, my hundredths, and my thousandths are lined up. And again, we're going to go in and fill anywhere that's blank that doesn't have a value in that place lined up with it. We're going to add a 0. Okay, we're going to start over here. 1 minus 0 is 1. And right here I get to 6 minus 7. We cannot do that, so we need to regroup. We're going to come over to our tens place and borrow 1 and regroup that into 1600. 16 minus 7 is 9. And then 7 minus 0 is 7. And we're actually only going to do the bottom one on this page for practice of our learning target. So we're actually only going to do this one. I'm going to start again with rewriting our values. Remember, this is subtraction, so order matters. I'm going to start with decimal point, decimal point, decimal point for our answer. Okay, this is subtraction. We actually have whole numbers here, so we need to pay attention to that whole number place value too. I have a 5 in my tens place and a 6 in my ones, 56 and 17 hundredths. And I'm going to subtract 2 and 809 thousandths from that. Now, here's what I mean about putting those zeros in. So a lot of fifth graders this year made this mistake. They'd start subtracting and they'd say, okay, over here I have 9. 9 minus 0, that is 9. No way! I can't do that. So we need to put our placeholders in to kind of keep us organized and make sure we know what we're doing. So I'm going to put in my placeholder here, and I'm also going to put one here over in my tens place. Okay, now we are ready to start subtracting. So I'm going to take away 9 from 0. We already said we can't do that. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to borrow from that hundredths place. I'm going to turn that into a 6. I'm going to group one of those over into 10 of my thousandths. So now I have 10 minus 9 is 1. 6 minus 0 is 6. And same thing here. I cannot take 8 away from 1. So I'm going to come over into my ones. I'm going to take 1 away and I'm going to regroup it into 10 tenths. So I'm adding 10 tenths to the 1/10 I already have, which makes 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. Now I can do my whole numbers. 5 minus 2 is 3. And 5 minus 0 is 5. Again, you can use your estimation to do this. Right here we have 56. Just going to round up to the nearest whole number. Minus 2 and 8/10 is closest to 3. 56 minus 3 is 53. Okay, is our answer pretty close to that? Is it reasonable? Yes.